Okay, welcome back. So I want to expand on simple concepts, and I'm going to use a very simple concept here. It's just a pair of notes that imply the chord types E minor, D major, and C major or C major 7, right? I used this in a lesson I did a few days ago, and I wanted to sort of give a concept of how I would expand on something simple. This was what I was playing. And it's just pairs of notes, right? I'm using the 2nd fret E on the D string and the 3rd fret G on the high E string, and so then I'm moving to the open D string and the 2nd fret F sharp on the high E string, and I'm just playing the open strings in between the B and G string, and then I go to the 3rd fret A string, which is the C, right, and I play that with open E, B and G. So they're only one finger. I mean, if I can sort of make this nice and clear for you. Where are we? Where's the best angle? There we go. 2 fingers, just those two, right? 1 finger, 1 finger. I'm just using my 3rd finger. You could use your 4th finger. It just depends what else you're going to play as to which finger you choose, right? So I was just using those. Now, what I wanted to do with that was make it more interesting. Now, when I do stuff like that, I often look at the least interesting part first, and I try to work on that. Now, for me, the least interesting part at this point is when I'm on this C major 7 chord for 2 bars, right? So I want to, you know, for a start, I want to lead back in. That's what my ear is telling me to do. You know, trust your ear. So there, all I'm doing, I'm playing the D on the B string, which is the 3rd fret, and then the open high E string, then the 2nd fret on the high E string, which is an F sharp. So I've got this. 3, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And it might be tricky enough just to work that one through if you're not used to playing, you know, stuff like this. And then try and add the other notes in. And also, you know, I'm trying to keep that D ringing, because I like that sound where the notes are together. So, you know. So already that's a little more interesting, right? So if I was to have to repeat that several times, even, you know, so it would still be like boring. So I want to start introducing more melody to what's going on. So I'm going to do something really simple. I'm just going to do this. Okay, so that would sound like this, just with the single note bass behind it. Just have to think about that for a second. 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then you have to. Sorry, I completely forgot to do it. So, you know, and that sounds a little more interesting, but let's go a little bit further and let's start playing with the chord types to make them more interesting. Like this is very much a straight play with this. Oh, gee whiz, David. So what we're doing there is making the chord into a sort of C9. It's a sort of C11, a C9 at 11. And what I'm doing is I'm playing the D on the 3rd fret on the B string and the F sharp on the high E string, which is the 2nd fret. So, and then I'm changing the F sharp to a G, just up one semitone, and then off. And I could also take off the D and I better remember to play it right. Sorry. Take off the D this time. That's not right, is it? And so I'm just playing around with it here. I'm sorry I'm not expressing what I'm playing as I go, but I'm trying to think on my feet and get some of these nice sounds. It's always good if you can play around with the notes, right? I could have played open C, but this C9 at 11 sounds so much cooler, and you could take that to the next you know, point as well and play something. Well, I like the C9 at 11. That's a cool. And you could also vary the bass on that and get a nice. See, I love moving the bass. Yeah. So, as you go through and try to work things up, always re-examine them and ask yourself, what more could I do to make it more interesting? I mean, obviously you don't want to overplay, and you don't want to make it incredibly challenging for yourself to the point where you literally can't get through it without screwing up. You know, you want to make it comfortable and you want to make it melodic. Most important thing in music, in my opinion, is melody. You know, we've gone so far away from melody in some forms, in some of the styles of music, that it kind of doesn't even resemble music to me in a lot of respects. It's more like pyrotechnics, and that's wonderful. And you know, and that's where some people are at. But if you're at a place where you want to be able to sit with a guitar and play music and just have people go, "Wow, that is so sweet," then this approach will work for you. It's time consuming, but it's very rewarding to start with something very simple, you know, and just take it from there. You know, and throw in some little harmonic things, you know. all I'm doing there is doing like an E minor, E minor 9 arpeggio. All I'm doing is playing the 4th fret on the D string with my 3rd finger here, and I'm picking an octave above that, and then an octave above each of the open strings. So that would be like the 16th fret right above the fret, and the 12th fret on the other 3. And you could, you know, throw it in after the I think you get the point. So, you know, and you can I mean, you're doing 2 octave runs there. Actually, with the low E, you've already covered an octave there. So you're already into the 3rd octave. Sorry, into the 2nd octave here. 3 octaves right there. I mean, you know, at this point you're actually up here on the guitar. Sorry. So. So you know, you've covered this octave, this octave, this octave, and now you're in this octave. So there's 1 octave, there's 2 octaves, there's 3 octaves, and all I'm doing is holding 1 finger down. You know, and you have to use your fingers or your pick or however you're going to do to organise that and get it together. So pretty stuff, simple, you know, concepts, and this is how I love to play these days. I don't play much. But you know, be a bit of an investigative, you know, guitarist, and see what you can come up with. You know, whatever you can come up with to make it, you know, really sweet. These little things that you add on make all the difference. Anyway, take care. Not sure if that helped anyone with anything, but for me, approach is everything. Philosophy and concept is everything. What you come up with is personal, and I'm not going to tell you what to play. I just like to sometimes give concepts as to how I might go from something mundane, simple, and make it more interesting, which is, for me, just part of the fun. Anyway, you take care, and I'll catch you soon.